Well, thank you very much for joining us on the Match Day Highlights Review Show. You've just witnessed West Ham get beat at home to Leeds United 3-2. And for a football fan, it was one of the liveliest games that you can get. I mean, for a neutral, you would have absolutely loved that. But as a West Ham fan, you'd be heavily disappointed. Just because I think we really struggle now, don't we, when we lose, because we're so not used to it. And we had that little blip earlier in the season. We bounced back. And I don't know, I just fully expected. I think at certain points in this game today, I felt like we could have, went on and done something better. But every time that we maybe clawed back, Leeds, fair play to them, done something even better than us and came back and took the game to us. And I think Bielsa's tactics worked really well today. They were scuppered by loads of injuries, loads of COVID problems, but they've bounced back and they've walked away from home with a much needed victory, which is what they so desperately needed. I am disappointed. I'm heavily disappointed. I'm surprised at a couple of the substitutions. I'm glad he made substitutions early, but I think I'm surprised at the one really that got me more than anything was the Fornals one, because I thought Fornals was actually having one of his better games in the West Ham half. He was actually one of the only ones that was penetrating their defence and causing them lots and lots and lots of problems. But I mean, it's about how we pick up now and move forward. That's exactly what it comes down to, because we have to. And this game could have, I mean, we could have had more goals. If you think about the last minute second opportunity there from Bowen, we could have had we could have put the game to bed a lot sooner rather than later. But obviously, let's go to see here. Let me just see what people are saying, if they're going to be coming on or not. Yeah, so it's a frustrating loss, and it was one of those days at the office, I think, wasn't it? One of those days at the office that you just get really frustrated about. You don't really know how you're going to. Anything really goes. To be honest, the game could have gone to anyone. I'm going to look at the stats as well as we go through the game, and we'll see exactly what everyone is saying as well. But I'll jump onto the chat, see who is there. Epic hash time. We can forget top six if Fabianski isn't dropped. Absolutely useless. Makes a save or two, and people think he's not bad. I mean, I think there's been occasions where he's really kept us in the season, but I just wonder. I wonder what, if at all, would anything change now. I don't know. I need to kind of dissect the goals a bit and actually work my way through them and see where I actually think West Ham went wrong for these goals. Crosshammer gutted is an understatement. Gutted, yeah, absolutely hopeless and useless. We just didn't deserve our point, in my opinion. We flopped, not good enough from West Ham Irons. Our defence was shambles. We'll talk about the defence in a minute. But keep your comments coming in and let me know your thoughts on the defence, because, someone said going forward, we looked really, really good, but defensively, we really, really struggled, to be honest. 40, my God, what an awful game. We were dog poo. We were, mate. You can say that again. We absolutely were. How West Ham was that performance? How old West Ham was that performance? Don't be saying that. Bowen, why? I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, you got to be in the moment, I suppose, and it's probably at that specific height. But I mean, I want to see it back again. But it literally looks like the most perfect header, like ball cross in for a header. It takes a deflection off the Leeds player. It's coming in, and it's him in the goal. Keeper's nowhere to be seen, and he tries to chase it in. Adam Cook gutted, but not up for it today to make many mistakes. Chris Biggs Montana Moyes has favourites. That is evidence. Tyler Zuma back from Man United, hopefully. Too many defensive mistakes. Diop needs to learn how to put the ball out. Breaking kids beat so-called men. 40. I don't know if it's the amount of games we played or the players being dog shit tonight. And we need a new defense. I don't think. I think we do. I've always stated it. I've stated it for such a long time that we really lack control in that defense. Even when we've brought Zuma in, we don't have the out-and-out defenders that we actually need. We concede too many goals in the Premier League. Even when we play well, we always rely heavily on outscoring the opposition. And I know that's what you need to do, but in every single game, you can't rely heavily on that. And And we could have conceded a lot more goals, but to be fair, so they could have today. But we do need to really shore up that defence, and that's why I think he is going to be looking at that area as well. And then you do see with some of the substitutions with Masuaku and Yarmolenko that the strength and depth just isn't to the quality and the strength that we need, because they're I think we lack that quality. And well, I don't want to slag off individual players, but potentially in a couple of players that to come on. Gutted Anton, should we blame Still for being tasered by the stewards for distancing Moyes from putting a secret loan sign on Messi? Crosshammer Vlasic on the left has to stop. He is better in the centre. I think the biggest problem you've got there is, you know, can you remove Lanzini or Fornals from that position? Give me 2 seconds, people, please. I'm back. Can't lose to United. James Bong is saying Leeds are a good side, too good for us today. Fair play to them. Issa has to go. We'll talk about him in a minute. Trini Hammer, the team is looking mentally tired, devoid of creativity. Kids beat the so-called men. OW saying we can only pray Masuaku and Diop never play for us again. Need Zuma, Diop panicking, Dawson too slow. I can't blame Dawson for today. I really can't. I actually think he was one of our he was one of our better performers. I think he just put his neck on the line pretty much for everything today. And I don't like slagging off West Ham players at all, but Diop is looking shaky. He really is. He does seem to panic, and I think Leeds saw that. They saw that weakness in him, and they brought the game to, and took the game to him and to his area, which caused us problem after problem after problem, to be honest. And I think it really did come down to his side. I don't think it was Dawson's issue at all. I mean, you've got to give credit where credit's due to Bielsa. Bielsa's obviously studied West Ham and seen what we did against them in the FA Cup. And did we really change anything massive? And if we didn't, what was he going to do that was going to change it to get the result over the line? And like I said, you've got to give them credit where credit's due, and that's what they've done today as well. Not dog shit, just a bad performance. Move on to the next game. Need to cut mistakes. Absolutely. Man United game's huge. Absolutely huge. Aditya, Leeds Academy beat West Ham old age team. Sloppy at best from David. Narke says Fab's knees dropping. Diop was poor. We were slow. Black Country Hammer. Crap Diop. No defender from me. Rubbish all over the place in the back. Need fresh legs this January. Totally agree. Epic. Taking Diop says all. Taking them all. I think that was more tactical, to be honest. I think we needed an outlet up top. And I think we're always going to have to. I said it beforehand. We were going to always have to commit to letting a defender. Taking a defender off in order to bring a forward on, especially when you're chasing the game with a couple of minutes to go. When Leeds have a 15-year-old on the bench and we get beaten by the under-23s, it's just not acceptable. Diop was defensively shocking, too flimsy. Yeah, completely agree. We didn't play well as a team tonight. OW, Antonio's forgot how to hold up the ball, just fumbles the touch, then dives to the ground. I thought he had an okay first half, but second half he kind of disappeared a lot, didn't he? And thoughts awful. Just imagine relying on Masuaku and Yama to change the game. Like me midfield, awful at the back. Daly, I've seen Wayne sleep tackle harder than Diop. They had more energy than us. 4 days saying need to give him to Newcastle. Diop cash in while we can get a proper defensive player. That Bowen missed though, yeah. Our back from Gray and Lindsay. 4 have no leader and collectively we're a joke. When will Moyes try our youngsters? 5 minutes not enough. Instead, Masuaku can't kick a ball. We need a better defence. Diop scares me on the ball. Yeah, I think he definitely does panic, and I think he needs to go into the market sooner rather than later to bring someone in that can offer that. And I mean, so a Tarkowski-ish type player, a no-nonsense defender who's, he's no nonsense in terms of what Craig Dawson can do, but he knows the Premier League, and he's a different kind of no-nonsense defender to Dawson as well. So I think someone like Tarkowski would be fantastic, and he could potentially come in and hit the ground running. I think that's what we need. The problem is now, will Burnley let go of their star defender, considering they got rid of Chris Wood, obviously, as well. Stop blaming individuals. We look clueless all over the park. I mean, for all that Bowen has done recently, how does he miss that? Absolutely. If Moyes can't see, don't need a centre back or a striker, he's deluded. Lanzini at central defensive midfielder, found out. I think the thing here today is that I think he can play in that position, in that role against specific teams. But I think when they had players like Rafinha in their team, they were always going to cause West Ham problems down that midfield area because we didn't have the protection of Souček. Said it during the game when I was watching it, and I'll say it again. And I said it actually in the preview last night. We had to be wary of that attack through the middle because when you've got Lanzini in there, and it's not blaming Lanzini, it's his style of play, that he is creative. He can play in that defensive holding midfield role as a kind of deep lying creative midfielder. But when Declan Rice urges to go forward, then we leave ourselves a gap. And that's where Leeds found a lot of their opportunities from today. If you actually look at a lot of the goals that Leeds scored, a lot of them came through the central area out wide. And normally when you've got Tommy Souček there and Declan Rice there performing in all cylinders, you've got them closing down any of their attacking threats. And that is what stops Leeds from getting forward 100%. Joke performance from Allen. Sufal was poor today. Big hole in midfield. Should have used Crawl. Moved Lanzini forward. Rice tried his best. Rest looked tired. Going down with the decorations. Crosshammer, Rice and Bowen were our best players and deserved not to be put in the naughty corner. We played midweek and it showed. You defend as a team, not just as a back four. Leeds press relentless. They did, yeah. The mistakes were just not our defence. Lasic made a mistake on the third and Antonio for the fourth, thankfully disallowed. Absolutely. And I think I'll go back to this one. They did press relentlessly in that second half and we were causing us problems with that. We should have signed Coutinho. How the hell did Villa get him and Digne? The thing is, GP, is the money that they're on as well. I mean, they don't fit within the mould of what David Moyes is looking for. No Souček, no Partey. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. We missed him today. I think a game like today is the difference of West Ham either drawing or winning without Souček, if I'm being honest. Is that a big, bold statement? You tell me, get that in the comments. Fornals coming off was a mistake, only player that was able to get on and get past players. I do agree with you. I really do agree with you. With the exception of Bowen and Rice, we looked as if our energy levels were low, poor concentration and passing. Maybe we also missed Souček. We did, but I think Fornals was good in the first half, and I was surprised at the substitution that was made. What's the deal with Crawl? We need someone to win with those second balls in midfield. Headers, he's 6'4". Moyes really doesn't rate him. Also, defence is too slow. Fornals can play better on the left, though. Fordy saying it must be the amount of games. Did anyone hear the games between us and Leeds? I heard we're signing Team Windass and Carlton Palmer. I said one centre back, but we need two. Hopefully this has kicked Moyes up the arse. We need extra players. Adam Cook, we can score for fun. That's why a striker is not the most important thing to need to improve defence and midfield. And we are scoring goals throughout the whole team. That's the thing. We are getting goals throughout the whole team as well. Just like my dreams, they fade and die. But we're still within. Listen, it'd be nice. It would be nice to go ahead and get, it would be nice to just get the result and move further up the league. But we're still within the top four, and that is it. David Nelson, what time is that? David, that's my brother-in-law. Right, I've already told the missus, so don't worry. Why isn't Johnson playing? Sufal is okay, but rather see Johnson. I've seen enough of Yarmo and Yasuaku. Rather see youngsters. The up passing today wasn't good. I've got to agree with you. I don't really understand now the Yarmolenko output. I really don't. I don't like blaming individual players, but he didn't really offer anything. He got 20 plus minutes in the game today and didn't really offer us a single thing. So I don't really understand it. There was players on the bench there I would rather have saw to get game time. And it means then if you put them on the pitch, we may have saw a different outlet, and the opposition players and teams don't know what they can offer, but everyone knows what Yarmolenko can offer, which isn't very much just now. I think games or more performances like this are more important during the transfer window. Shows we need strengthening and worry that the money people think is okay on a skeleton squad. Trinity Hammer, I would give the opposition credit if they beat us and they played well. We played poorly from start to finish. Antonio was bad today, but Leeds did give us hell. At least Liverpool won't want Bowen after that late miss. That's the upside. I'll tell you what, let me jump into the actual game itself. And we'll discuss that as we go along. So obviously from the West Ham lineup, you saw Fabianski, unchanged from the Norwich game. So Fal, Dawson, Diop, Creswell, Rice, Lanzini, Fornals, Vlasic, Bowen and Antonio. And I did say in the preview, and I said after the Norwich game as well, even though we did get the victory, that having Lanzini in that holding role can open us up for penetrating opportunities from the opposition, and we saw it against Norwich, and that's where they had the best threat, and they saw it against Leeds today. That's where they had the best threat. On the bench, we had Areola, Fredericks, Masuaku, Johnson, Alessi, Crawl, Perkins, Okaflex, and Yarmolenko. Leeds United, who are riddled with injuries, had Millier, Firpo, Struck, Koch, Ayling, Dallas, Forshaw, Harrison, Cleach, Rafinha, and James. And if you go into the game itself, right off from the off, it was it had everything about the game, didn't it? I mean, it was end to end. There was opportunities for teams left, right, and centre. And as a kind of neutral looking at the game, you could have just seen this game really going anywhere today, to be honest. But at the end of the day, Leeds took the lead to go 1-0 up fairly early doors. Rafinha was really causing us problems all game today. And he set up Cleach for the first time shot that is parried by Fabianski out wide. And fair play, people can blame Fabianski for that, but you can't, because I think he parried it into the position where he was told to do as a goalkeeper, out wide. And Forshaw recycled it to tee up the shot for Harrison from the left foot across goal that finds the far corner of the net to make it 1-0 to Leeds United. And for me, to be honest, it was a disappointing goal to give away, but I don't really know who I can blame at that point. I think you can blame maybe the build-up play in that goal, but Fabianski parries the ball. It's a good save that he makes, and he parries it out wide. I think it was wide right, actually, and Harrison just gets a shot on goal and makes it 1-0 to West Ham. Disappointing, but it was a good goal from Leeds, and Bielsa was on the up. So I think
hey,
we are DJ Rusty B. How you doing, mate?
Sorry, I've literally just got out, so I'm not going to get to the supporters club in time. But I thought I'd jump on because I'll help you out a bit. You've been on your own, bless you, all day.
That's fine, mate. No worries. Disappointing. How are you feeling after that?
Very disappointed, mate. It was. I didn't see that one coming. I'll be honest. I think a lot of people were assuming we were going to put on a good performance, but to be fair, Leeds played us. They knew exactly what we were going to do. They knew we were going to be light in the midfield with Souček out and Lanzini playing. And it showed. They came out of the blocks so quickly. You know, they really, I think, surprised a lot of people how quickly they came out of the blocks. And we didn't really, I mean, it took that goal for us to really get into it, to concede the goal just to wake up.
Yeah, that's what
to be honest.
Saying. We were actually saying that when we were doing the Matchday Live. We were saying that, again, it maybe relied on us conceding a goal for us to get our kind of
happens a lot, though.
Really, it does. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's just a tough one to take. It's just a tough pill to swallow because, again, we're not used to losing. We've come back off a bad blip, and we've won 4 consecutive games in a row. And Leeds have been decimated with injuries and decimated again today with injuries. And then you see an opportunity, and we get the opportunity with Jared Bowen, who gets the goal to make it 1 each. It was a good goal from West Ham. And you think at that moment, let's kick on, West Ham. Let's kick on. This is where we've got to go and kick on. But we don't. We don't, mate. And Leeds then go ahead and get a second goal within, a few minutes, was it? I'm just trying to find.
Yeah, it was a few minutes. It wasn't long at all, to be honest. But as I said, that, I was looking at some of the comments throughout the game that come through from the chat. Obviously, fantastic comments from all the viewers as always. But it was so evident that it wasn't the right game to play Lanzini in that holding role. It was so obvious. I honestly think if Souček was playing, or even Krul was playing that day, or if we had a fit again, Mark Noble, we'd have probably won that game because Deck was doing 2 men's jobs.
Yeah, I said that just before you came on there, Russ. I think we spoke about it as well, that when you play Lanzini in that position, he's a fantastic player. I'm not talking about dropping Lanzini. I'm saying that what happens is we have gaps opening up. And you saw it against Norwich, and we got away with it against Norwich, but we're coming up against, and you said it in your shows as well, you're coming up against the likes of Rafinha, you're coming up against the high-pressing Leeds United, who have just come off the back of playing a West Ham side, got defeated, and have learned their lesson and thought, how do we get at this team?
Yeah,
and that's what
totally right.
And they actually distributed the ball centrally out wide. But the thing is, what you were saying there, when Tommy Souček's there, that's exactly what he nullifies.
We know that exactly, and it's so true. And I mean, I felt sorry for Cresswell. I thought, it seemed 2 games getting back so quickly. I think him versus Rafinha. I think to be honest, he tried well. I mean, one of the goals, he didn't see the guy behind him basically, and I just felt it was like just make sure Zuma's all right for Man United. That's all, because we just need a little bit of solidity in the back. I mean, Soufal, he tried, and everyone was trying, but he said once you miss that central sort of plug, really, that sort of central defence of like that Souček provides, it makes a massive difference. Against Norwich, you can get away with it. I didn't think you could get away with it against Leeds, and we were proved right. And Matt said it in the preview as well, the same thing. So frustrating, because what it could have done, it could have given us a nice platform. It could have put pressure on the Arsenal game whenever they reschedule, and we would have been 3 points off Chelsea, the same number of games. But we dust ourselves on a move again. We're still fourth.
We are. But like we've said though, when you get a goal back, a good goal from Jared Bowen, you've got to go on and kick on, especially when you're at home against that kind of Leeds side that are struggling. And you've got to give credit where credit's due to the likes of Bielsa, because that shows you that he is
definitely
credible manager, credible coach who studies the game inside out and knew exactly where our downfalls were and went for our weak spots. Let's talk a little bit about. Go for it. No, go for it. No,
I was about to say, you're totally right. He outmanaged Moyes today. Out-tacted him. He knew exactly what he was going to do. To be honest, Stell even bloody predicted the side. So if Stell can predict the side, then Bielsa's surely going to know what's going down as well. So, you know what I mean? It was quite an obvious side we were going to put out. He wasn't going to put Kral in. Noble was still out. Souček was still out. So you sort of knew who we were going to play, the style we were going to play. And Bielsa, basically, as you said, he's a great tactician. And you know why Guardiola loves him so much, and learnt so much from him. You can see how he was doing. But, that man, Declan Rice, honestly, weren't for him, we would have lost that about 6-2, 6-1 at least.
Yeah, absolutely. 52nd minute came on. A really good goal from West Ham. Ayling plays the ball out twice, literally in the space of a minute. Declan Rice dispossesses the Leeds midfielder, passes the ball out wide to Antonio, crosses the ball into Pablo Fornals, takes the goal, scores a really, really good goal. But for me today, Pablo Fornals actually was one of, if not our most creative player. His penetrating passes today, Russ, were through the roof. He was causing them problems all game. With 20 minutes to go, he subs them off and brings on Yarmolenko. I don't like slagging off West Ham players. I've never been part of that whole situation. But that was a crazy decision. He was probably our best player in the park at that point and going forward.
Yeah, exactly. I don't fathom what the idea behind that was. To be honest, I would have taken off Lanzini and dropped him in. He wants to put Yarma on. He loves putting Yarma on. And he's coming on. To be fair, Yarma tried well. He did try. And he almost got the winner, or the equaliser rather, at the end. So I don't get the thought process behind it. I thought, as I said, I think Lanzini it was a game too far for a lot of people. The fact is, we have played, no excuses. You played 3 games in 8 days and 7 days, and pretty much most of the team have played all them games, and it looked leggy. Defensively, we looked shot. Centre back position.
If we think about Issa Diop, we've gone 2 each, sitting at a Desmond, and you're thinking to yourself, Russ, again, West Ham need to push on here. We need to push on. We need to try and go and get a result. We've gone 2 each up. We've got the momentum. Literally 5 minutes later, Leeds go on the counter-attack and they get a goal. And it did come from a bit of sloppy play from Diop and Vlasic, to be honest. Diop plays a ball through to Vlasic, doesn't really give him an opportunity, but Vlasic just literally puts one touch on the ball, gives it straight to the Leeds players. Bang, Harrison goes up and gets a hat-trick to make it 3-2 to West Ham. And you're thinking at this moment, what can West Ham do to keep to try and even just get a point in this game? But we couldn't. We just couldn't handle their counter threat. Really, could we?
Just couldn't. We couldn't handle the pace, and that's the one thing that worried me when you saw that team and you saw their team. And we jokingly put on our little WhatsApp group. We was like, you got old James up front. James like is playing up front. They had so much pace, and that's the one thing we can't defend against at the moment. We can't defend against pace. Particularly Cresswell coming back. That's why I was surprised. I honestly thought I'd see Johnson play today, because you've got to think Cresswell and Soufal, both fullbacks, are not the quickest ones in the world. We had Fredericks and we had Johnson on the bench. Ideally, 2 of the quickest out there. In terms of what we have. So there was a big. You knew Moyes was going to keep it exactly the same as before. Unfortunately, just didn't. And it seemed as soon as Diop made 1 or 2 mistakes, that was it. Dawson was making mistakes, and it's almost like they all crumbled when they're on it together. They're on it together, but that's the thing. That's why everyone's praying for Zuma to get back, because at least there's some solidity there for the others to fall back on and relax a little bit. But yeah, it was just. Fair play.
Russ, this game could have got worse for us. Rafinha had a free kick. He hit the bar. Then straight after that, they score another goal. Thankfully, it was chopped off through VAR, and rightly so. It's a ridiculous. Rodrigo standing on the line. He's hit the shot. Rodrigo can't even see where the ball is. The ball hits him, but because he's in an offside position, it's chopped off. But that's the rules of the rules. And then we get a goal chopped off. Yarmolenko hits the ball into the back of the net. We think, bang, this is it. 82 minutes gone. We've drawn the game 3-3. We can go on now and get the 3 points. That goal is chopped off. But this leads us into the miss of the season, potentially. Antonio collects the ball down the left-hand side, crosses the ball in, it takes a deflection, and it lands. It looks like it's going to land square on Jared Bowen's head, and he decides to try and guide it in with his chest, and it guides it over the bar.
I think, yeah, because it took that deflection, and it took that deflection, and to be honest, it was like took that deflection. I thought, you know what, he's gonna, and I think he improvised. He did improvise. Yeah. So look, it was nothing you can do about it. There was a couple of, it was just one of those things where it just weren't going to be our day.
Bad day. Just didn't seem to be
our day. Huh?
It's a bad day at the office, isn't it, really, Russ?
Yeah, bad day at the office. It was a bad day at the office, and we came back twice from going down as well. So, I'm always a half glass full person. So yeah, it's a bad day at the office, but it's a bad day where we showed enough spirit to come back from going down twice and bringing it back. But yeah, just is that last bit, and as we said, if Souček had, Arsenal got their game called off with one COVID case, we've had one COVID case, we've played, and unfortunately we've come off the worst of a 3-2 game. But
we going forward, Russ, right? There's goals throughout our team. There is goals throughout our team. But defensively, again, we find ourselves in that situation where we really are struggling defensively. And surely a game like today highlights again to someone like Moyes, go out and just, if there is a man there, like if I know me and you have been talking about Tarkowski and why would Burnley get rid of him. But if you really need someone in there who could hit the ground running, surely bringing in a Premier League proven defender, someone who's abroad, would make the big difference, who could hit the ground running. But surely it highlights the problems we've got there, doesn't it?
Of course. If there's someone available, then Moyes should get him in. But if there was someone available, I think Moyes would have probably got him in. Who he wants, he'd have probably got him in quite early doors, because we sort of needed it. The only news about Zuma came relatively out in the last sort of couple of weeks, really. You thought if something would have been sorted straight away. It's going to come down to money, isn't it? Not being funny. I still don't think Burnley will sell us Tarkowski. I just think they won't. Yeah. And I think, for me, I think if there was someone who they could have brought in, they'd have got him in already, to be honest. We know we call him Div and Dave and all that stuff, but, if he wants someone, he'll get someone. If it's hanging out, if he's waiting, a thing popped up, I think, today about Lingard, West Ham ready to pay 3-4 million quid to get it done. That's never going to happen, surely, for 3-4 million quid. Man United would rather hang on to him. It does highlight, the bench particularly does highlight we need some more quality in the squad. We do. No disrespect to the kids, no disrespect down to 23s, but when you bring in on Sonny Perkins to try and win you get a point, top 4 Premier League club brings on a young lad to try and get, it doesn't fill you not the confidence, but it's like it's not easy for him. It won't be easy for him to come on and make a difference, where someone who's a seasoned professional, someone who is going to come on and make a difference, whether it was a Jesse Lingard or, arguably if Ben Rama was playing, maybe Vlasic would have come on, someone with a bit of pedigree to bring him on. But yeah, dust us off and go again. Christ, we've been through a lot worse. And, we've got to dust ourselves off. We've got a week now until Man United. or 6 days until Man United. So
does this bring up the does this bring up another debate in reference to Fabianski, or do you think there's?
I think I thought he was a bit slow off his line for the last goal. I'll be honest, but I think any goalkeeper will be bereft of confidence with the display of the two centre backs today. They didn't play very well. If they don't play very well, then the goalkeeper doesn't necessarily have the confidence in them. And I think, at the end of the day, the last goal, he should have come off his line quicker. I think that's my own opinion. At the end of the day, it's everyone will say, but there was a couple of times he saved us. Couple of good saves today. I think even if Ariola was in goal, he would have conceded 3 goals today.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them were his fault. I think the issue it was the defence. You had a better defence. I think you would have easily walked away with the 3 points, I reckon. Definitely.
Yeah. So like you said, though, I mean, dust ourselves on, move on. Man United next in the league. What do we do? What do we do, Russ?
Put Zuma in.
We've got a week.
Yeah, we've got a week. We've got 6 days to get Zuma match fit and in the squad and started. And to be honest, I think they'll probably start him and Dawson together. The fact is they took off Diop at the end when they needed rather than Dawson, they took Diop off to bring Sonny Perkins in. Maybe that suggests to me that it'll be Dawson Zuma. Maybe that's not a bad pairing, I think, for Man United. You want some experience there. And personally, I'd look to get Johnson in. I really do. I just think he brings, I think he's been unlucky the last few games that Soufal's come back in and he hasn't got a start. I think Soufal's come in and played all right, but I think Dawson would have given us that extra bit of edge when it came to a bit on the right hand side, particularly pace, which I think we lacked tremendously today. Yeah, definitely.
I think there was. I mean, I'm a bit like you, Russ, as well. I see a half glass full sometimes, or quite a lot of the time, and I think there was some occasions in the first half. I thought things to take from this was Fornal's creativity. I mean, he penetrated their defence. He's been doing it a couple of times now since he's been back in the team. He offers us that good outlet. Lanzini can also do that outlet, but he's definitely not a defensive midfielder. And Rice, like you said, does the job for 2 or 3 other players, which is really tough. I thought at several occasions today, Antonio done even more than what he has been doing. He held up the ball well on maybe 50% of the occasions, got round the player, and then 50% of the other occasions he lost the ball. But to be fair to Leeds, they were putting 2 or 3 defenders on Antonio and 2 or 3 defenders on Bowen, which was trying to nullify any of those threats, because Bowen really couldn't get in the races today either, could he?
Didn't get a lot of change today.
Yeah.
Did well to do what he could do. He was, the thing is, he's going to be earmarked now. He's a good player. He's on fire. So naturally, that's going to be the first thing that the opposition manager is going to do, how to nullify Bowen. So for me, that gives more opportunity for someone like Lanzini, someone like Antonio, because it's almost like the spotlight's been taken off them, because he's all about Bowen at the moment. So, I mean, he tried well, and as I said, could have easily got another goal. If not 2, there was another shot he just couldn't get enough on. I think Fornals almost got in his way in the first half, and Fornals went on the volley rather than I think Bowen was in the better position. Yeah, but absolutely. One of those things, isn't it?
People in the comments are saying here, Hammerhead saying time to move on from Fabianski. Frank Butcher's saying we definitely need to make some signings and adapt our squad, especially because we're in Europe this season.
Yep.
Uraja is saying except Rice, the whole team was crap. Crosshammer saying well said, Russ. Trini Hammer says all teams, even in the top 6, use youngsters. Moyes' reluctance is inexplicable. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. They use the youngsters, but not to the yeah. For me, I think they sort of use them as literally the last throw of the dice. So what can you expect? What can you expect people to do when he's coming? Sonny Perkins is coming on with 5 minutes to go to try and get equalised in a 3-2 game. Because they haven't been blooded in when we've been 3-0 up against a team, or stuff like that. It's tough for them. It's really tough. I mean, you look at someone like City. City got the luxury to be able to play Palmer. They got the luxury to play these players because they're running away with it. They bring them in at the right time. There's been opportunities this season. We've been surprised at the strength of some of the first teams, particularly in the FA Cup, Carabao Cup and stuff like that. but then it's Moyes, and that's what, and and he's got us to where he is at the moment. So, I'm very much, it's just frustrating. It's one of those frustrating games. You come away, we should have won that game. We should have got something at that game at least. And due to squad depth, due to poor defensive performances, we didn't get anything. And that's what frustrates me. I think our team on paper should have easily walked away with that. Yeah. Easily. As you said, with so many problems, with Bamford out, with so many, Rafinha just coming back, you had Llorente was out as well. In essence, there's a whole new back four again for Leeds. I mean, they've had their injuries too, but they seem to cope with it better than we did.
Do you think Moyes needs to get his subs on a bit earlier, as what Crosshammer said here?
Possibly, but are we splitting hairs because we've lost? It's not necessarily the subs, but I think it's the right one. Personally, I would have thrown Ockerflex on just because he offered something different. Yama comes on, what you're going to get. Everyone's going to defend against him. Bielsa would have had him scouted. Bielsa would have told everyone keep him on keep him on the right hand side. Don't let him cut him to the left. But no one knows about Ockerflex. No one knows about these players,
and these players are the ones that can offer us something when we've not got anything to offer.
When we're really missing pace, we're really missing a bit of something different. You don't. But that's the pragmatic approach to Moyes. So in the same way that whereas Zola would trust the youth and play the youth, but then we almost went down with Zola. So it's like it's having some sort of pragmatism as well. It's just frustrating. That was what it is.
Dabs is saying an injured Zuma is still better than both our centre backs at the moment. Mandy's saying today we got found out with only one quality holding midfielder and two poor centre backs. Fab commanded the box very poorly today from Hammerhead. Yeah. We never know, as Moyes always plays Fab from 40. Thomas is saying this pattern from West Ham is so frustrating. When we have opportunities to advance, our chances of top four, we crumble. But then, to be fair, yes, I get it. I'm the same. But to be fair, a lot of teams have crumbled this weekend as well. And I would still rather be in our situation, Russ, and having points on the board than games in hand. No ifs or buts about it.
And who knows? We could easily go to United and get something at United, and then that opens the door back up again. Same way that Tottenham and Arsenal still have to play their game. It's frustrating because it would have helped us. Would have given us a bit of extra oomph, an extra emphasis going into these. Get extra pressure on those boys, but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. It's just frustrating.
Yep. Frank Butcher saying, be good to have Souček back and all. Frank, I've been saying this all season, we're 2 week on the bench, mate. We can bring on Masuaku plus Yarmo. What can I say? I'm going to go on about it a little bit, but it does show that sometimes you look at our bench and you think, that's all right. I'm kind of okay with that. But when you really need something to turn the gears up, you don't really think that Yarmolenko is going to be that guy that's going to turn the gears up, and neither is Masuaku, are they?
Exactly. It's just that there wasn't that extra bit of little bit of spark. When everyone's fit, you got to think some of those first teamers who started today would be on the bench. The bench looks a bit more exciting, a few more options. I mean, at the end, looked like Aaron Cresswell was playing centre back. Yeah. Towards the end, they took Diop off, and arguably Cresswell has got the best. In terms of crossing, he's up there. So frustrating, as I said, but come United, Souček will be back, Zuma will be back, should be back, and so both should be back, and our team will look a lot rosier. Yeah, a lot rosier, and it will take the pressure off Declan Rice. I mean, it was a proper captain's performance today from Dec. He tried his bloody heart out. Played, as I said, he played central defensive midfield. He played cam. He played centre mid. He played everywhere. Bless him. And he was obviously frustrated more than anything. You could see it at times. It was almost like he thought, F it, I'm going to do this myself. And goes for it. And, and when he does that sort of marauding run, it's really hard to stop him. Yeah. It was just a few times you're frustrated. You wanted them to shoot. And I think we're so crap at shooting long range, it seems, that's not the option. They try and pass it a few too many times for my liking. Try to walk it into the back of the net sometimes, but hey ho.
Hey ho, we move on and heads up. I mean, Trinny Hammer here saying in the press conference after the game, Moyes is saying the players were tired after the surprise of the Norwich game. If he knew that, that makes the case for change even louder.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Does, to be honest. You know, if they're tired, then why stick the same team? You know, he's answered his own question there, but I know what he means. I can understand what he means. I mean, it wasn't a surprise as such, but having, you know, relatively, not even short notice, to be honest, it wasn't that bad. I just think it's just frustrating because, you know, Leeds have played, you know, they played last Sunday, they played this Sunday. They had time to bring people back. We didn't have that time, but Christ, it's one game.
Yeah,
it's one game, isn't it?
Yep,
it's a season, marathon, not a sprint, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. Maybe Moyes should try and squatting all game. It could bring us luck. I don't know how he does it. I really do not know how Bielsa does it. English Yard is saying, Russ, we got out coached today. We need 2 or 3 signings to fish in the squad, make it new again.
Totally.
It's tough for us to be consistent with our squad. We are learning by error. And really, that's really it. At the end of the day, Russ, any last words you want to say about the game?
Dust ourselves off and go again.
Yep.
Bring on United.
Say that again, mate. You can say that again. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the thumbs up and join us. There'll be more shows coming up over the next couple of days as well. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed the content today. Disappointing we've not got the 3 points on the board, but as Russ said, onwards and upwards. Let's move on to Manchester United and let's go and take the game to Old Trafford and get a historic result there. Come on, you Irons.